On today's episode, we talk about Donald Trump's cabinet meeting, his racist rants, his droopy eyes, and Pete Hegseth's excuses for the ongoing war crimes. Ooh, sounds like a great show. Oh, hello and welcome back to Even More News, the first and only news podcast. My name is Katy Stoll.
Yes. Hi, Katy. Thank you for welcoming me specifically back to the show. And, our audience is here too. Hello. Welcome to the show.
You are welcome. They are welcome. You are Cody. Jonathan is also here.
Oh boy. Hi.
Yeah.
Yes.
A wacky one today.
Yeah, you're really mixing things up.
And I usually prep for like 20 minutes for that moment. And when I don't, anything's liable to come out.
And it did.
Friday, December 5th is a weird one. Bathtub Party Day.
Boo. Thumbs down. What is this about? What are we doing?
It's about bathtub parties. I don't know. Almost everyone nowadays, I'm telling you, almost everyone nowadays takes showers. So here's a day to recall some of the luxury of days gone by. Invite a few friends.
Get out of here.
Who has a bathtub big enough to fit a few friends in there with me?
Fake. This holiday's fake.
I am a bathtub girl. Love.
You're saying you're
can't be saying
girl?
that. Don't, Jonathan.
I'm a tub girl.
Can't be saying that.
I'm not just asking. Like Katie's saying it to me, so I'm just like confirming.
I feel
Just
like I said
rephrase it.
something
Katy,
that
rephrase
maybe.
it. Katy, you
Why?
gotta
What's
rephrase
wrong
it.
with that? A
Just
bathtub girl.
Just say you are a person who likes taking baths.
I'm a person who likes taking baths, aka a bathtub girl.
No.
Yeah, it's just so simple.
Okay.
I honestly don't know why bathtub girl is bad, but I don't.
And you never
won't.
should, to be honest.
I love a bath.
Look into it,
folks. I think
there we
it's
go.
very relaxing.
Loves a bath.
Bath lady.
Bath lady.
Crazy bath lady.
Fan.
I don't
Lady fan of bathtubs.
Want that to be a party with other people though.
Yeah. Why would you?
It'd be
Like a lemon
not
party,
comfortable
like some
for
sort of
multiple
party.
like something like a live party for a lemon. Yeah. Or like a.
News though.
What about it though?
Unless you guys want to chat, like just general check-in of how everyone's doing.
I think that we would cut that from the episode.
We did.
If we did
in fairness, we did that for an hour before this.
We did. I don't know. Sometimes people like to check in with how we're doing. Sometimes people like the chit chat up top.
I don't disagree with you, but I know almost for a fact that our editor will cut it out.
Yes.
Nick, leave it all in and let the people decide. Chit chat or no.
All right. Sign off in the comments. Chit chat or no.
Sign off in the comments. Did you hear this or not? If we check the comments and no one mentions this, we'll know it's gone.
I'm certainly not listening to it again.
Part where we ask for you to respond to the comments, cut from the episode. Please sound off in the comments.
Nick, let us have our news time, though. Let's do it.
Let's do it.
Well, a lot is connected to this cabinet meeting that Trump held that took place on Tuesday. This connects to everything else we're going to talk about today. But to start, I guess we should talk about Trump's racist, disgusting comments about the Somali-American community. But to start, Tim Walz in Minnesota is dealing with there's fraud. There's a lot of fraud that's going on in Minnesota. And some people convicted of fraud are from the Minnesota Somali-American community, I guess is all I need to say up top.
Yeah, that's very fair
context.
assessment of the situation.
Right. There's more to it, but then there's that. So a reporter says on Tim Walz, Mr. President, do you think he should resign over the fraud scandal in his state? And Trump launched into a rant that started by calling Walz incompetent and talking about Ilhan Omar. And then he started saying some pretty horrendous things.
There's no structure. And when I see somebody like Ilhan Omar, who I don't know at all, but I always watch her for years. I've watched her complain about our Constitution, how she's being treated badly. Our Constitution, the United States of America, is a bad place. Hates everybody, hates Jewish people, hates everybody. And I think she's an incompetent person. She's a real terrible person. Somalians ripped off that state for billions of dollars, billions, every year, billions of dollars, and they contribute nothing. The welfare is like 88%. They contribute nothing. I don't want them in our country, I'll be honest with you, okay? Somebody would say, oh, that's not politically correct. I don't care. I don't want them in our country. Their country's no good for a reason. Their country stinks, and we don't want them in our country. I could say that about other countries, too.
There are 80,000 Somali-Americans living in Minnesota, and he's not talking about people here with documentation or not or anything like that.
No.
Or people who were living here or people fleeing civil war. He's just saying they're garbage and he doesn't want them here.
People born here. Because, I mean, even saying their country stinks, well, their country's America, sir.
Their country is America.
Yeah, this is one of those, it's been a while since Trump's been like so outwardly, openly racist.
He really let her rip. At least he didn't use the R word in this.
Well, he didn't have some fucking 24-year-old groiper writing his little speech tweets.
Yeah, tough to find silver linings in this one. Like a real multi-minute tirade at the end of a 2-hour-plus cabinet meeting.
He didn't need to say any of this. They were finished.
We know this is what you believe. Please keep
we don't
filth
need
to yourself.
Yeah, it's really just disgusting. Obviously, saying they contribute nothing over and over is not true. They're not people that work, not true. They're garbage. All this stuff is just plain racism.
Well, we were going to talk more about the scandal in Minnesota, of course. But in general, this is another chapter out of his same playbook of drumming up hatred and fear towards a specific community, point blame, get the media in a frenzy for a day or two, and let it justify his continued attacks on walls, which he does seem to be in Trump's crosshairs at the moment. He's the current fixation.
Yeah, I do think the media that I saw was trying to say, hey, this is like, I know we're all desensitized when Trump says this stuff. This is a big deal that an American president is going on this kind of racist rant about a group of people that is not just like 4 people that committed a crime, but tens of thousands of people. The New York Times called it a xenophobic tirade that was shocking in its unapologetic bigotry. And I that's just one sentence, but I do feel that there were efforts by the media to really stop and underscore this one, lest we become completely desensitized.
Yeah, that's, there's another era maybe when they would have called it like racially tinged or something like that. But the sentence you read is pretty straightforward.
Yeah, they called it shocking, and there, we still have a ability to be shocked by things that this man says and does. And God, I can't believe he said all that stuff about Haitian people while he was trying to get people to vote for him, and then they did.
And then they did. So
who cares? But
I guess
I know.
Doesn't seem to matter. Maybe this one does because it's so blatant and so vile. We know who he is and what he's said over these years, and it didn't seem to matter in the election. People are desensitized to it. Some people are racist.
I mean, a lot of people do like what they said this.
Yeah, for sure. And a lot of people, are influenced by whatever videos they see on social media, framing this as some sort of scourge and that we should all be afraid, locked in your homes from the bad immigrants.
And I'm not going to go so far as to say this is not who we are, but
sure.
This is not who what he said is not who most of us are. And he continues to paint a picture of America that does not match most people's lived experiences. Like, this was Biden's problem last year when they were trying to say, actually, the economy's pretty good. And everyone's like, well, look around, everything's too expensive. Now he's trying to do it and saying, actually, affordability is a hoax and everything's more affordable now. Like, well, that's your problem now. You're telling people that their lived experience is not true. And he's doing the same thing when he goes so far to say, like, all of these cities People are afraid to leave their homes. They're unlivable because even people who don't live in those cities and live in the suburbs, I think most of them know it's not like that. Like they might think, oh, going to the big city, I hope I'm not a victim of a crime. But like I think they know that what he's saying is a fantasy, is like a dark, demonic fantasy. And he's doing it more and more with everything.
The whole goal for him all the time is to take isolated incidents or specific specific individuals or one event and transfer it over to an entire population that he can demonize, whether it be a specific immigrant population, Haitians are eating the dogs and cats, blah, 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 which also is just based off the complete lie, or this fraud case or anything. And I think that most people, like you're saying, Jonathan, do sort of recognize that tactic as like, well, this is just blatant demagoguery. Like it's childish on its face to assume people like all think like that. But let's explain the scandal that he's trying to.
Right. So we all know that there was tons of COVID era fraud, not by design, but they knew it was going to happen because they knew we needed to get resources and money into people's pockets quickly because everyone's losing their jobs and whatnot. So fraud was kind of inevitable. And there, of course, was lots of it. And one
from a lot of different people, a lot of very wealthy people, a lot of corporations that didn't need it, but continue.
Yeah. And so one kind of specific bit of fraud was these people that started a fake nonprofit called Feeding Our Future, which they used just to get COVID funds. And connected to some of these Minnesota schemes, 59 people have been convicted in the last several years, some of whom were part of the Somali diaspora, like some of the people behind Feeding Our Future.
I think that a significant percentage of that number are people from Somalia, just to, be clear. That's why this is part of it. But continue.
Yes, that's why he's singling out this community, and federal prosecutors are saying that this Feeding Our Future scheme was pretty big, even in comparison to other COVID-related fraud.
I do think it also continued outside of COVID stuff, that there were other... which I don't know the specifics of, but some other abuses of social programs.
Yes. And so the idea from the Trump administration is that this casts some sort of shadow over the 80,000 Somali-Americans, as well as Ilhan Omar, who has nothing to do with any of this, and Tim Walz, who was the governor, who has put in a bunch of he signed executive orders, like anti-fraud measures since then, because it's been this is an investigation that's gone on for years. This is not a news story. But since this happened, quote unquote, under his watch, he signed an executive order intensifying efforts to detect fraud and adding new penalties, and even proposed using AI tools to try and detect fraud. So he's been kind of all over this year.
That's why 58 people have already been arrested.
That's the part that's real. And then Chris Rufo, in all his wisdom, decided to add on a not real part by saying that the fraud money has been funneled to the terrorist group Al-Shabaab because he wants to make it, he doesn't think it's racist enough.
Yeah, no, he needs to make it, he needs to heighten the racism.
Well, and so he wanted to make it more terrifying, to make it something truly anti-American instead of the very American standard fraud.
Exactly.
This is a perfect example of taking something that is real. This is something that happened. Happens in a lot of instances, not just this one that we're focusing on right now. And again, we've highlighted them over the years. We've known that this is true, but it's a very real thing. And then extrapolating that, hyper-focusing on one community to other them, to paint them all as criminals, and also probably create a narrative about how social programs are just all being abused across the board. A real throw the baby out with the bathwater situation. Instead of the thing that we all acknowledge is that, there's some amount of fraud that happens, especially when times are as hard as they have been for all of us increasingly every year. Not to dismiss fraud, but that's to be expected. But that doesn't mean that those programs aren't important. That doesn't mean that it's not serving a purpose. It means, we can have different rules and regulations about how we monitor fraud, but it's going to happen. People are going to figure out how to game the system no matter what. In some cases, we call that being an American. We call that ingenuity. If it was Donald Trump, we'd say he was smarter than you guys and figured it out.
He has said that about himself. I wanted to highlight that actually because they do this all the time, specifically to try to say that like any helpful program is bad and should be destroyed. It was Elon ran into this constantly with Doge, where he'd be like, look, we found all this fraud. And it's like, well, no, the investigators in charge of finding fraud did years ago. You know about it because we found out about it. This is another great example of it where everyone's like, oh my God, they did all this fraud and oh my God, they're getting away with it. No, they're actually not. You know about it because they're not getting away with it. We have institutions and investigators in place to prevent this or catch it if it's not prevented. And they can point to this all they want and like, oh my God, look at all this fraud. Yeah, well, guess what's happening? People are getting convicted for it. So they can't actually use this. I mean, they can. They're going to try. But just Elon did it all the time. Any fraud in Social Security is like, oh my God, see, there's all this fraud. No, they found it. They prosecute those sort of things. That's the whole point of having these institutions in the system, is that you can detect and prosecute when this happens.
Right. They caught them. That's why Walls has been going around saying like, why are you coming at me? The system worked. We, like our investigators, the federal investigators, found them and prosecuted them, and
they didn't hide. And the narrative that they want to have is like, oh my God, the Somalians get away with all this fraud, and Tampon Tim is letting them and sweeping it under the rug. No, he's exposing it and trying to
tough on crime,
get rid of it. Exactly. So they're just like sort of flailing to try to be as racist as possible.
Good luck to them.
Double bonus, they can also demonize any sort of welfare program by pointing out that fraud is detected and prosecuted against when it happens.
It's that whole thing of like there were more, that Marjorie Taylor Greene thing, that there were more people apprehended at the border under Biden, which shows that they were caught more.
That they were caught. Exactly.
He's doing the thing you want to be done, but it's a sign that, well, they see you as being so permissive that they're going to commit more crimes under you. Like it's logic that falls back on itself.
Yes,
constantly.
The what would make sense in their world is like, oh yeah, Tim, he caught this fraud and nobody ever heard about it because he let them all go. Well, that didn't happen. So now what?
Do you have a home chef in your life who needs a serious hardware upgrade this holiday season? Like, let's say you live with a Swedish chef whose eyes are completely obscured by giant bushy brown eyebrows, and he desperately needs better cookware. For that hypothetical guy, you gotta go with Hexclad. Cookware that's stylish, durable, and convenient. Everything an eccentric, trout-flipping, felt-based chef might need. Their 12-piece set is the ultimate all-in-one cookware upgrade. We're talking 3 versatile pans, 2 saucepans, and a family-sized stock pot, each with its own lid. You'll be able to cook for frogs, piggies, bears, hecklers, patriotic bald eagles, and anyone else who shows up for a holiday feast. Built with Hexclad's patented hybrid technology and backed by a lifetime warranty, this set is designed to be the last cookware you or a gibberish-speaking mustachioed chef ever need. This season, don't just shop for gifts, give the upgrade every kitchen deserves. Visit Hexclad.com and cook like a pro all holiday long. Treat yourself or give the gift of cookware that delivers for every meal, every gathering, every season. That's HEXCLAD. There's no song. .com. Support the show and let them know we sent you, please. Bork, 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 bork. Indeed.
Do you guys want to talk about him falling asleep in that same meeting? It's I don't have anything else to introduce. He fell asleep quite clearly at a couple different points. Dozed. Yeah. The way you might if it's you want to watch a movie late at night and you're like, God, I just finished for the day. I'm sitting down to watch this movie, and you're really not nodding off.
Those lids are heavy. They get so heavy.
I don't think you've ever seen me doze off in a company meeting, have you?
No, but of course Trump didn't have the option to turn off his camera and mute himself. He's sitting right there with every camera pointed at him and going.
I know that this has been talked about this week, and I don't know how critically it's been talked about on certain channels. I know that Fox News happened to have him on camera as he was nodding off, and so that's not a good look.
Not great,
but
no.
I just can't. I will never be over the fact that they're just such a double standard. This is just the sleepiest man who keeps nodding off, who is so unwell, who keeps getting MRIs and brain scans and dementia tests, and is incoherent half the time and is visibly dying in front of all of our eyes. And there's not a fucking breath of a word from his sycophants to even suggest that they understand the double standard, the hypocrisy. And
that dementia test was an IQ test that he decided to take, though. Katy.
They said, "Do you want to take this test?" And he said,
Sure.
"Yep."
Yeah.
I'm a healthy man. I love
let's be
tests.
fair to the man. Yeah, he fell asleep during this cabinet meeting. It's absurd. It's absurd. It's ridiculous. It's like.
I just if we're not talking about how unfit he is for the office, I know I say a similar thing almost every week when a story like this comes up, but I don't know what else to say other than the man is dying and is old and shouldn't be the president.
Have you guys seen the I mean, I know it's maybe his heart. There's a heart thing, but have you seen the theory this week that he's on some kind of Alzheimer's treatment, which requires a monthly injection, which would explain the hand, and a monthly brain scan because brain bleeds can be a side effect? I don't know. I'm just listening to doctors, aka people online who make like there's only so many things it could be though, right? It's like it's a heart thing, it's a brain thing, those
are the ones.
Those liver. Right? I mean, come on, like how many things?
Yeah. But he's not like a drinker or anything
he's
like
still
that.
covering the hand wherever he's going. It seems to be like the first few days of the month when he has to go for these
go
things.
And get something.
So it's like a
to
monthly
happen.
regimen of things. You know what's interesting though? I don't know if you've had the experience. I had this sometimes where, especially on Zoom, we're in meetings and I'll like zone out for like 45 seconds and then come back and hear something someone's saying. And then I'm like, oh, I have something to add to that. And then you end up saying something that was already said. I feel like Trump's going to do that one of these days. He's going to wake up and then say, and everyone's going to pretend like Rubio just said that.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. We're like, you're called on. He's like called on. And like, sir, do you have anything to add?
I like that. Exactly. That's a good prediction. We should make our predictions for 2026.
We should bet on it. On an app where you can bet on any disagreement you have with anyone.
We could log on to CNN.com and bet on the news.
On the news.
Now
That's
that they're
happen.
doing, we love the future, don't we?
Every even bet, even met, bore, betting more. Bet more now. Bet more now.
Just bet more now. Just bet more.
Just bet more.
Keep gaming. Look it up, folks, I guess. We're
talking about a thing.
There. Yeah, we're actual thing.
Yeah. Should we talk about the boat strikes?
Yes.
Yeah, they did talk about that in that the sleepy meeting.
Yeah.
So far it's sleepy and racist. Can we add a little spice to it?
Add another one?
I did not personally see survivors, but I stand because the thing was on fire. It was exploded in fire or smoke. You can't see anything. You got digital. This is called the fog of war. This is what you in the press don't understand.
So the thing about this that I think is very interesting is if you're a fan of the show, you'll know that we just released a Some More News episode about Venezuela and the Trump administration's aggression toward Venezuela. And these boat strikes are already war crimes.
Yeah.
Like, we're already blowing up boats of people that they say are drug traffickers. And even if they are, you still can't just blow them up because they're not enemy combatants. But what seems to have gotten everyone freaked out this week is that there were survivors that we then blew up, which is bad. Don't get me wrong, but I'm surprised that it's seen as this much worse than the thing they're openly
Already
Yeah,
doing.
that's interesting, isn't it?
Well, because also they've talked, and we talked about this in the episode. They talk openly about how they wish they could do more war crimes. Like they talk about how they want to blow more people up and have fewer restrictions on what they can and can't get away with. Yeah, but it does seem like this is, I mean, significantly worse to a lot of people.
It's so here's what happened. Sorry. On September 2nd, they blew up a boat. After they did that, there were 2 survivors hanging onto the remnants of the boat, and then the United States military, sent another plane back to kill those 2 people.
Right.
And that is, even if that's an enemy boat of like soldiers, that's a war crime. International law, the Geneva Conventions, all that requires that once people are out of the fight, you rescue them. They're prisoners of war now. You can't just go and kill them.
Again, that's also presuming that you've been in a fight, which this was not a fight of any kind. It's not a war.
Right.
But if you were going to accept the premise that this was war and that first strike was legal, which we reject, this would still be an international war crime.
So I really quick, because we talked about the memes on Monday, because they were like bragging about this. Pete Hegseth was online bragging about this. Now things are a little bit different and the stories keep changing. So just in the last few days, Trump was asked about it, said he wouldn't have wanted that second strike, the double tap strike, to happen, but he also wasn't sure that it did. Then the White House confirmed that it happened. And then Pete Hegseth in the cabinet meeting said he didn't make the decision to do the second strike, that after the first strike, he left the room because he's got meetings and saloons to go to or whatever.
Sure.
And that Admiral Frank Mitch Bradley did. He made the decision, that guy over there, but also it was the right decision. But if you're angry at someone, be angry at him.
Nothing to see here, but if you're mad, it's that guy's fault. As if he's not the guy in charge. Sorry, if Jonathan does something that reflects poorly on our company, the buck stops with the person.
Jonathan, who did it.
Yeah, no.
Oh, I was going to say
Right?
something else, but sure.
Well,
I guess
you were
if
going
we're
to say the right.
accepting
You were going to
this
say the
premise-
correct thing.
Yeah, I was going to say the correct thing. It's just absurd. And wasn't that guy testifying today before Congress?
Well, it was at a closed door session. He met with them. He disputed that there was a Washington Post report a few days ago that said Hegseth said, kill them all. And the Admiral Bradley said, that's not true. That didn't happen. And then he showed
said, kill them all,
the
please.
video. Yeah, he was really sweet about it. The Admiral showed them the video, members of Congress from both parties, and the reactions to that video are kind of on a party line where Democrats are like, this is horrible. These were 2 survivors clearly trying to like flip over a boat so that they could survive, and then we killed them. And then there's people like Tom Cotton who said that they were, here's the quote, I saw 2 survivors trying to flip a boat loaded with drugs bound for the United States back over so they could stay in the fight, which is what a thing to say
So absurd.
Back in the fight.
Because if
How do they sleep at night?
if your boat has capsized and your only way of surviving is to flip it back over, how could that possibly be an act of war?
You're back in the fight.
And also, it's a boat that's if it's a boat that is small enough that 2 people could feasibly flip it over, and it has already been blown up, is it going to make the 1,300-mile trek from Venezuela to Florida? Is that a thing that's possible?
Again, if they're just, okay, we're going to flip the boat back over and we're going to get all the drugs that we can, and then we're going to continue to take those drugs to their destination. Okay, but that doesn't mean they're back in the fight either. Describe the fight? What do you mean by back in the fight? What's the fight?
What's the
if
fight?
It's just, what are they fighting with?
You would think that it would do a lot more for their cause to capture people confiscate the drugs, prove it, but also find out who sent them, find out where the drugs were manufactured specifically, do literally anything other than just think.
Kill them all.
Maybe we've got them with no confirmation, no evidence. But you would think that a better tactic would be to get information, confiscate the drugs, make sure they've been destroyed. But no, obviously that's not what they want to do. They want to start over.
Well, right. That's what Hegseth has been talking about and alluding to. Is like, yeah, we're going to fire people who stop us from making these kinds of decisions. They want to continue to do this and probably worse.
Yeah, it's so weird how they're trying. Hegseth specifically is trying to have it both ways, where he's the big tough guy and he's calling all the shots. But just in case, I didn't call this specific shot, which was correct, unless you don't think it was correct, in which case it's this guy. But
I support him. But also,
yeah, the decorated admiral who's going to go to jail for me.
Also fun, just tidbit from this week. He's renaming it to Donald J. Trump's Department of Peace. Is that correct?
It's the building, I'm pretty sure, is the name.
But I just can't talk about this story without saying that. What is it, man? Is it the Department of War? Are you the Peace King? Are you keeping peace or are you starting a war?
Both. It's the State Department's peace, War Department's war.
Peace is only
you have to have departments for both.
Because of the war. Peace wouldn't exist without war, folks.
Well, you got to aggressively do the war.
The war is a department. It's a department that does the war. The peace is an institute. We institute the peace after we've departed the war.
We do the war. We depart the war.
I see. I just needed some men to explain it to my girl brain.
Here we go. See?
It's very simple, Katy.
It's very simple.
It's very
was
simple.
Was that patronizing enough? I can do it. I can really
I know it doesn't come natural to you. No, don't worry.
It doesn't. No, I don't. I never explain anything to anyone. I never think I know the thing that other people don't. It's never it's never happened, Katy. It's never happened before.
Quiet, piggy. You should have said that.
God. Oh my God. But you know what? The buck stops with you. So if I did say that, it would kind of be your fault,
right.
really.
It would be my fault.
If you think about it.
Everything's my fault. And that's true. Sorry about the state of our country. No, it's not true.
A little more Hegseth stuff. The Wall Street Journal reported on Wednesday that Hegseth asked the other admiral guy, Admiral Alvin Holsey, to step down after disagreeing with each other from the very beginning of Hegseth's tenure as Secretary of Defense. But also, apparently, Holsey regularly said, these strikes are illegal. And Hegseth said, either order them or leave.
Yep.
And he left. So, there were some disputes among the top admirals about the legality of
There were signs. There were signs early on that perhaps Hegseth was intending to do the war crimes that he is definitely doing because of this resignation or firing people who can tell him that it's actually illegal. If they can't tell you, then you can just do it. If there's no one there to say, then
chilling.
It doesn't matter.
And of course, I do think that video that Mark Kelly and was it Slotkin made a couple weeks ago was a little... I don't know. I had mixed feelings about it at the time, but this is literally case in point what they were talking about.
Yeah. I mean,
you
it's
don't have to follow.
Know.
I mean, you probably will lose your job if you don't follow the illegal orders. But if they're illegal, they're illegal.
Then they're illegal, yeah.
But then it's interesting that this has been going on for a while, but that when, I forget what show, Alyssa Slotkin went on a show and they said, well, what illegal orders are you referring to? And she's like, well, I don't think there have been any yet.
That's exactly.
Which is unfortunate,
weird.
Given that you could point at any number of things. But I guess she was getting worried about telling specific members of the military not to do specific things.
Yeah. I guess it would get a little dodgy if you're like, oh, you mean the things that are going on now. But also, it could just be indicative of like, well, she's kind of okay with them doing this,
Because if the things that have happened are not the illegal orders you speak of, what are they? What do you mean? Because this is bad. before we started recording, I mentioned this op-ed trying to frame it as these strikes are not illegal. Obama would do it, the double tap strikes and blah, blah, blah. But again, if you see that floating around, yeah, Obama sucked too. Like drone strikes were bad. There was a little bit more legality with that in that he was, using a prior authorized war act. But no, it sucks. But this is even more egregious.
Yeah, it's pretty frustrating to see that. That's they have to say something. They have to have some sort of talking point. They have to justify this somehow. And I've just seen so many people be like, well, if you weren't mad about Obama doing this, then you can't be mad about this. First of all, yeah, you can. You can think anything. It's fine. You can isolate this and talk about why it's bad. But also, many people didn't like the drone strikes under Obama. Also, that's like 2.5 presidents ago. Mm-hmm. Are we not able to talk about the current day at all and specific events that are happening without being like, well, okay, if you weren't mad about this, but
as
what about now?
Learned about
what if,
it,
yeah.
I will acknowledge that Obama years, I think we can all acknowledge and appreciate or understand how we've changed and become more culturally dialed into the news and, what's the latest catastrophe. But in the Obama years, a lot of people were checked out. A lot of people didn't understand the extent of which things were happening. If they did, they probably wouldn't have liked it if we were covering things in the same way. And I think it's okay to acknowledge that and say, yeah, but we learned from that. And people are aware of what happened and are not comfortable with it. We do not want to be a country that's always at war, always meddling in other places' affairs, a country that kills indiscriminately for vague reasons. We are better than that. And that, was something that, in theory, Trump campaigned on, being anti-war, getting out, not being involved everywhere, not doing this. And, so, yeah, we're paying more attention and we're pissed. And this is egregious. It's terrible. We don't want it to happen. That's okay. Both things can be true.
Also, like, hearing someone, like, criticize this or point out how it's bad and then being like, oh, but but you like Obama, or like you didn't care about when Obama was doing it. It also implies that person is saying, I agree with what Obama did. Right.
Which
I don't think they want to be saying.
Right. Well, that's what I mean. Like, just because people weren't speaking out about it then, a lot of people didn't know it was happening. But we're,
Also,
but whatever, we've got information now.
A lot of people spoke out about it then. Yep. A lot of people were unhappy about it.
A lot of people did. I just know that
when it happened, not even like after the fact.
Yeah. I feel like we talk about it a lot. Anyway.
Yeah, people were like, hey, this sucks. Why are we doing all the droning stuff? Even, 8-9 years removed from 9/11, it was a tougher argument to make to the American people who were still a little like, maybe we should do this. And there was a lot of like rawness around the killing of Osama bin Laden.
War on terror, all that. Yeah, exactly.
The drone strikes had their detractors quite vocally.
Biden reduced the number of drone strikes when he was in office,
but he still did some. So throw them all in jail.
Exactly.
All villains. Oops.
I love.
Oops, all villains.
The fog of war justification. What fog of fucking war?
That's so funny. Like, there's video. You saw guys on the video. They're like, well, the fog of if they had guns that they were going to fire into the sky at the
fog of war, meaning your foggy brain all amped up on adrenaline and bloodthirstiness. That fog of war.
It's like he thinks the phrase fog of war means literal fog, and it doesn't quite. It's like a larger, more broad term about the uncertainty that one experiences in combat, and some of it might have to do with fog. But it's we just couldn't see. But also, the claim is that you could. You say that you could see them. Yeah, they were flipping over the boat and getting back in the fight. But if there was the fog of war and you don't know, then how do you know?
There's a whole movie called The Fog of War. He should maybe see it. But there's the idea is that's something you bring up way after the fact to be like, listen, we couldn't have known. There's all these different factors piling up on each other once we were mired in Vietnam for 5 years. But that's not what's happening here. This is like aggression on your part.
Yeah, they call them like tactical, like precise, kinetic strikes. Like, I thought you were being like really targeted and professional. You knew everything is going on, but now you're like, well, the fog of war.
This is not
happening.
like you've drifted down the river to encounter Colonel Kurtz, and you're like, I don't know what's real and what's not anymore.
Right?
You're the Secretary of Defense, and you chose to blow up a boat, and then you saw people, and you chose to blow them up again.
With like. It's like you're just using computers and like video. Like you're looking at it. Maybe it's just like the resolution's a little too low. The resolution of
4K.
war. Yeah, exactly.
Got to upgrade those screens to 4K so you can see the guys holding the vomit tubes
Exactly.
out there
right off the
in the
side.
sea.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Look it up.
Look it up. We're talking about something real.
To indicate what kind of a actual scandal this is. This is Judge Andrew Napolitano, formerly of Fox News, now a contributor to Newsmax, talking about this.
It gives me no pleasure to say what I'm about to say because I worked with Pete Hegseth for 7 or 8 years at Fox News. This is an act of a war crime, ordering survivors who the law requires be rescued instead to be murdered. There's absolutely no legal basis for it. Everybody along the line who did it, from the Secretary of Defense to the Admiral to the people who actually pulled the trigger, should be prosecuted for a war crime for killing these 2 people.
Okay, Judge Andrew Napolitano.
Pretty
clear.
Not mincing words.
Yeah.
Not at all.
Pretty unequivocal right there.
Yeah, it's like the New York Times talking about the racist tirade that the president went on. Yeah, that's pretty clear cut and straightforward. And after working with him for so long at Fox News.
For so long to just, yeah. Okay, well, presumably, though, he knows him better than others, certainly better than us. But that's fun. Just fun little note to end that conversation on, just to make it clear that it's not just us that think this.
Oh yeah, we're not the only 3 people who think grave war crimes have been committed.
Ever since I moved to the mountains, you guys know that I did that, right? You know that I recently moved to the mountains. Well, ever since I did that, it has been harder to keep in touch with some of my beloved city friends. I always used to go a-caroling with my buds this time of year, and I desperately miss going door to door, pulling out classics like Jingle Bell Rock, Old Christmas Tree, and it's beginning to smell a lot like Blitzen. But now my friends and I can keep all our cherished memories closer with an Aura frame, a digital picture frame that's easy to set up and plays live photos and videos up to 30 seconds long. Aura frames have meticulously calibrated high-resolution displays, so unless you're really staring at it like some kind of creepy wise man all hopped up on myrrh, you'd never know it's a screen. Plus, you can gift these to a friend and preload them with photos before they ship. That way, my friends won't have a choice but to remember my stirring solo performance of Must Be Santa. This year, my sister-in-law, who is a teacher, actually asked for one of these so that she can put it in her classroom and have all the kids' pictures from the year displayed. And that's a lovely idea. And she's getting it from me. And I can tell you that because she doesn't watch this show. Anyway, for a limited time, save on the perfect gift by visiting auraframes.com to get $35 off Aura's best-selling Carver Mat frames, named #1 by Wirecutter, by using promo code MORENEWS at checkout. That's AURAFrames.com, promo code MORENEWS. This deal is exclusive to our audience, and frames sell out fast, so orders yours now to get it in time for the holidays. Okay, support the show by mentioning us at checkout. Terms and conditions may apply. Oh, finest gifts we bring, pa-rum-pa-pum-pum. Still got it. Yeah.
6'7". You know how the kids are saying 6'7" for some reason? Well, I'm one of the kids, you see. I am youthful and translate well to the 15 to 24 demographic. Yes, indeed. And to that end, 6'7". I wanted to get myself some hip new clothes that accurately reflect my youthfulness. To that end, I got myself some jeans from the Perfect Jeans. And let me tell you, they aren't lying. No cap, I mean. No cap. These babies are soft, stretchy, and fit perfectly. They make me look 6 years younger and feel 7 years better. That's right, I feel 22 again because I am only slightly older than that. I have Ritz, you see. It's Riz. I have Riz. The point is, look, there's no more chafing or flat butt with the Perfect Jean. When you wear these things, people will be saying, "Gat" to you again. Gat. What? Look, it's finally time to stop crushing your balls in uncomfortable jeans by going to theperfectjean.nyc. Our audience gets 15% off your first order plus free shipping, free returns, and free exchanges when you use code MORENEWS15 at checkout. 15%! That's 6 plus 7 plus 2. 15% off for new customers at theperfectjean.nyc with promo code MORENEWS15. After you purchase, they'll ask you where you heard about them. Please support our show and tell them we sent you. Fuck your khakis. Fuck them. And get the Perfect Jean. It's giving advertisement.
Yeah, we should just quickly recap what happened in Tennessee on Tuesday.
Yes, we should.
So, as expected, Republican candidate Matt Van Epps defeated Democrat Afton Benn in Tennessee's 7th District. On Tuesday, the real suspense was how much he would win by. There were some people who thought she had a chance, the Democrat in this district, with what's been going on, to pull this one out. But no, Van Epps won it by 9 points, but this was a district that Trump won by 22 points last November, so that's a 13-point swing, and with a midterm level turnout, not really a special election turnout, so...
That's significant. Some people might have been disappointed that it wasn't closer, but that is a wild swing. I think it is a really good harbinger of what's to come, of what things might look like in the midterms.
Especially when there's more attention on the races. You know, this is a special election.
Yeah, I mean, presumably there was a lot of attention there because the turnout was similar to the general. But this says a whole lot. And I do think people in other districts should and are nervous because that was a significant spread there, the 22 points versus other places where it was much closer, where he didn't win by that much, or at least not by that much.
Right. This would suggest that if you are in a Trump plus 10 district and you're running for Congress there, maybe you'll have something to worry about. Still, 11 months. It's a long time away. All the prices could go down by then. But, this is another indication that people hate this shit.
It's interesting.
When deflation happens.
To see.
Which we love.
Yeah. Some Democrats, some people, arguing that Ben was just a little too progressive, I suppose. But, that's silly because the moderate candidate didn't win there. And she overperformed. It could just be a sign of the times. Maybe that specific district is, too conservative to ever really go for somebody that identifies as progressive. But it's pretty impressive that even with being identifying as more progressive, there's only 9 points. So.
Everyone's got opinions. I don't know. Whenever this happens, everyone's like, "Oh, it should have been a moderate. It should have been more progressive. Should have been this. Should have been this." Well, I mean, some do in certain areas, and sometimes there are lessons to be gleaned. Sometimes there aren't. Sometimes this is just how it is, and a moderate would have done very, very similarly. and the primary voters chose this person, so that's how it is. And there are going to be other districts with primaries where there's a moderate choice and a more progressive choice, and you can browbeat progressive voters and be like, you have to choose the moderate for this particular election, but that's not really going to be effective.
Yeah.
So they're just going to do whatever.
I mean, there's this lingering fear among the moderates that Democrat primary voters are going to do the same thing that Republican primary voters did in a lot of places where they nominated a MAGA candidate that was way too extreme and couldn't win in a general election. And Democrats are going to do that too with these progressive candidates who can't possibly win. And I just don't think we've seen the evidence of that yet. And when you get right down to it, these progressive candidates are a lot less extreme on the left than the MAGA, than like Carrie Lake was on the right. And especially because they're talking about things like Graham Plattner still polling well in Maine, and, Afton Ben's message that was very similar to what Mom Donnie's doing, like plugging away at affordability. These guys don't really share your concerns. They're up on the mountaintop. They talk a big game, but they don't really share the working class values that we have. And either way, whether it's progressives or moderates, they're going to have to build a brand that is like a working class brand again, which I would argue is tougher for moderates to do because they're not that.
Yeah, and I mean, like you're saying, like Mom Donnie sort of like gave a blueprint for a lot of things. People saying like, oh, well, she's like one of those defund the police people, and that you can't get that stink off. Mom Donnie is like a DSA member who has said a lot of things about defunding the police, but he was able to reframe that and step away from the toxic slogan, I guess, and explain what it means and get people on board with the idea of, well, yeah, we've got these bloated budgets and the militarization of the police, and if we had them focus on the things they need to focus on and maybe had other like institutions, organizations focus on these other things that they're wasting their resources on, that would be good. That makes sense to people. So it's not like this like scarlet letter of, well, in 2020 they said this. That's just not how it is. I don't know. In 2020,
no, it's not.
Trump said a bunch of stuff,
and again,
too, and he's the president again. So
it does speak. Just all of this speaks to people being desperate for realness, for a change, for solutions to their real life problems, and the progressive candidates are at least speaking to people's real fears.
I don't even know if we have time for this, but like the deflation thing is really interesting because politicians and the media, and of course economists, all know that deflation, when prices across the board come down, that creates a bunch of economic problems. It often results in recessions itself. We don't want that. But everyone pretends that we do, and that politicians will do that when they get into office.
Prices down. Yeah.
When was the last time you saw a reporter be like, do you actually want deflation? Wouldn't that lead to... No one does that. Everyone just pretends. And so it's no wonder that the general voting public doesn't really understand that, because everyone in front of them is pretending we're going to get your prices down. The prices are going to go down from what they are now across the board. Food and gas and all the toys and products and everything you're going to buy for Christmas, the prices are going to come down. And no one's like, that's bad, because it would obviously be terrible politics to be like, actually, prices need to go up.
Should be
like
exactly. You can't really talk about it. You have
Mike
to be
Johnson hinted at it to try to like get past this. He was like, well, listen, prices always go up. It's like, what are you talking about? We have to lie. We all lie about that.
Yeah, on not like on both sides, but like in the entire realm, because you can't say, you have to go out and say, we're going to bring prices down, because you can't go out and say, we're going to stop prices from going up so fast.
Yeah.
Like, right? Like, that's what they're really saying, is we're going to slow inflation. Yeah.
It's like an agreed upon lie, essentially. Like, where we're all wink, wink. We know we're not actually doing that. Yes, we're going to say that they have the lower prices button and they're not pushing it, and I'll push it. But it'll be my problem once I'm in there. But like
across the board,
yeah.
Because you can bring prices of things down.
Sure.
You can bring housing down. They're like rents down. That happens. But being able to going out and saying, yeah, I'm going to bring all the prices are going down. Everything you spend money on, it's all coming down.
Yeah, that counterintuitively will lead to you getting fired, probably.
Yeah, right, exactly.
I know it doesn't
Right.
seem like it would.
This is what's driven me this whole time. Yeah, no one ever talks about that. Like, do prices come down? Do they? Can they?
They can in certain way. Again, gas
It
can
can
come
in
down.
certain
Like, there are
things.
things
but
that come
in
down.
But I mean, over
general,
time,
things get expensive. Things get more expensive, and all of these companies want to make more money. The next year, each year has to show more profits than the last year. At a certain time, whether you're talking about
and then everyone has to get paid
inflation
more.
or not.
Right. We all.
There's just everything changes and it gets more expensive, and I don't like it. But what do you mean you're going to bring all these prices down day one?
I mean,
All
you
right,
just
we
have
did
to
it.
appreciate that some things aren't like, oh, I can buy a 55-inch TV
Right.
that looks really good for the same price that I paid 20 years ago for a big TV that didn't look as good. That thing is the same. And I just have to
Yeah.
deal with the fact that if I want to go to the movies, that's like an
It's
event.
gonna be yeah.
Then
thing.
that's yeah.
Little rant I had to go on, I guess.
Yeah.
No, it
No.
was good. Jonathan's corner.
I'm
Jonathan's
glad
rant.
I mumbled deflation and then we
Yeah,
Yeah,
no,
talked
I
about
am
stuff for a
sure.
while.
What a
It triggered this
setup.
like monologue in my mind.
Yeah. I saw something happen when I said that. I was like, are we gonna come back to that or are we skipping? All right,
Oh yeah,
well,
Dude, I'm sure that
The gears are
happens where
turning.
I'm just like,
oh, I
I got a
wanna
thing,
talk
I got a
about-
thing, I got a thing to take over this podcast for 10 minutes.
Well, you did it, and it was great.
We did it.
And so is this conclusion that I'm about to speak.
I have 15 more
Conclusion?
minutes about Chris Cuomo, real quick, if that's okay.
Oh,
just
right.
short 15. I'm just kidding. We'll talk.
We'll do it another time.
We'll do it another time.
Like, how short is this
Fascinating.
15?
It's we're not gonna do it. Fascinating Twitter account, Chris Cuomo, right now. He just learned the term rage bait, and it's all he tweets about. It's so funny. But we'll talk about it.
We'll talk about it. There's plenty of time. We'll have more instances to reference by the time we get around to it. But don't worry, folks. Cody's on it. Cody's
I'm on
monitoring
it. I got it.
Chris Cuomo's Twitter account very
bookmarking. I'm
closely.
replying. It's all there.
Like and subscribe. Thanks in advance for that kindness you gave us. We'll be back next week. And we love you very much.
Much.
This ad is brought to you by Vive Healthcare, the makers of Apritude, cabotegravir. You never skip your SPF, and you carry hand sanitizer like an accessory. But what are you doing for HIV prevention? One way to help protect yourself from HIV is Apritude, a prescription medicine used to reduce the risk of getting HIV in adults and adolescents weighing at least 77 pounds. You must be HIV negative to receive Apritude and get tested before each injection. If you think you were exposed to HIV or have flu-like symptoms, tell your doctor right away. More HIV testing may be needed. Apritude does not prevent other sexually transmitted infections. Practice safer sex to reduce your risk. Get Apritude as scheduled. Missing doses increases your HIV risk. Don't take Apritude if allergic to it or taking certain medicines that may interact. Tell your doctor about your medical conditions, liver problems, and mental health. Serious side effects include allergic reactions or rash, liver problems, and depression. If these occur, get medical help right away. The most common side effect is injection site reaction. Bring your A game and talk to your doctor. Learn more at apritude.com or call 1-888-240-0340.